One thing that I always enjoy is testing different Z builds. Today we're going to try out various builds on Z to see which one deals the most damage, which one gives the most lethality, which one has the most useful armor shredding, and so on. The other day I posted a picture on Twitter about a game that I played, and some guy was wondering about the build because it was unusual that I went for full lethality items instead of the usual Z build, so he asked me, "Something is wrong, why didn't you buy Ravenous?" And I explained to him that the enemy team started to build a lot of magic resistance, so I just went full lethality items. 4 lethality items in 24 minutes. Lethality items are by far the cheapest and you can rush them very fast, and all of that got me thinking, what Z build does the most damage per gold you spend? Every Z build has its own strengths and weaknesses, and today we are going to find out the best and the worst aspects from every Z build. First, let's see which build does the most burst damage with just one WEQ combo plus auto attack. Full lethality item Z deals 2336 damage with one WEQ combo. Bruiser items Z deals 2259 damage with one WEQ combo, so a little bit less than lethality Z. And Crit Z deals 2703 damage with one WEQ combo. With no surprise, the winner is Crit Z. When it comes to pure burst damage, this build with the new Navori item will always prevail. With this new build, you can one-shot squishes and deal a tons of damage even to tanks, but the biggest problem with this build is if you ever get CC'd, you basically instantly die because you are also extremely squishy and easy to burst down. It doesn't give you any utility or defensive stats, and that is the reason why a lot of Z mains don't usually go this build, even when it's the build that gives you the most damage. Now let's see what build is the most expensive. The full lethality Z build costs 15,750 gold. The full Bruiser Z build costs 16,650 gold. The full Crit Z build costs 16,850 gold. As we can see, the cheapest Z build is the lethality build, and the most expensive one is the Crit build. If we divide the cost of the build to the damage numbers that we got from doing the WEQ combos, we can see that the most efficient build is actually the Crit Z build. But why isn't that the best Z build then? Before we answer this question, let's see the other stats that you get from the builds. When it comes to pure stats, lethality Z with Duskblade gives you 397 AD, 95 ability haste, 58 lethality, and 30% armor penetration. Bruiser Z build gives you 402 AD, 110 ability haste, 22 lethality, and 41% armor penetration. Crit Z gives you 407 AD, 85 ability haste, 60% crit, 50 lethality, and 30% armor penetration. The stats are pretty expected. Every build gives you about the same amount of AD, but every Z build has its ups and downs. The lethality Z build is the cheapest. I usually buy a lot of lethality items when I'm playing First Strike Z and when I snowball my lead so hard that I can just spam lethality items since they are so cheap and I completely take over the game. Lethality items also give you a lot of useful advantages. Humus, for example, gives you a lot of mobility, Edge of Night really good defensive shield, Serpent's Fang allows you to deal a lot of damage to champions who have a lot of shielding, and so on. Bruiser Z gives you the most armor penetration, ability haste, and tankiness. Bruiser Z is obviously the best if you're playing against a lot of tanky characters. It gives you so much armor shredding, and in combination with Conqueror, it's really good. Crit Z deals the most damage. Crit Z deals by far the most damage, but sadly it doesn't have any utility or defensive stats that you get with lethality items and Bruiser items, which means that you are so easy killable, and that's why a lot of Z mains avoid crit. In conclusion, you always want to build different items on Zed depending on your team composition and the enemy team composition. Every game is different and so should your build be. Don't be afraid to go different builds every game to try something new. At the end of the day, we'll learn a lot by experimenting with builds, and that's why I like to compare different builds, because you can always learn something new and useful about it. And that's everything from me today. Thank you very much for watching and have fun building smart items on Zed in solo queue. See ya guys soon!